All right, guys, welcome back. We are closing out chapter five. Chapter five being called Analyzing Ethernet LAN Switching. I apologize for yawning. In the last section is talking about MAC address tables with multiple switches. Um, of course, we were talking about layer two and the MAC address tables. Different names for it, how to use some show commands, how to diagnose, how to troubleshoot, do some verifications, how to clear the MAC address table, a couple other things. So if you want to see that, please look at the previous videos. I will try to touch on it today in the lab. If I forget, please remind me. But the main goal of today is to close out chapter five, and we're going to be discussing again MAC address tables with multiple switches. Okay, so of course, same old topology, right? If you look at my screen, we got the Flintstones, right? We got Fred, we got Wilma, we got Barney, we got Betty, right? And so before they used to be connected to just switch one, okay? And they each had a port on switch one. Switch one knew exactly, how to fulfill those two first main functions of a switch, right? There's three main functions in total, but since it didn't have any redundant links, it was only fulfilling those two. Okay. So it understood, how to forward, how to filter, and how to send it to its destination MAC address, how to take care of unknown unicast frames, and how to take care of known unicast frames. So now let's talk about, the MAC address table multiple switches. So if we look here, right, you know, everybody's connected to, either switch one or switch two. It's no longer they're all connected to one switch. So how do you think it's going to look? You know, how do you think switch one knows about Wilma, right? Or vice versa? How do you think switch two knows about Barney or Fred, right? And so how switch one and switch two are connected to each other, right? No matter if it's an access port or a trunk port, right? Doesn't matter. Okay. They are learned off of that port. Okay. And of course, you can see they're connected via gigabit 0, 1 and 0, 2. Okay. And we'll take a look at, I actually built a topology before this so we can take a look at it. So this is just the MAC address table from the previous diagram, from diagram 5-10, right? And it's showing you, right? So if we go back, if we keep flipping back, right? So Fred has dot 1111 and Barney has dot 2222, right? Wilma 3333 and Betty 4444, right? So if we look at the top, right, switch one, we're looking at switches one's MAC address table, right? We have exact fast Ethernet ports of where Fred and Barney is, right? Fast Ethernet 0/1, fast Ethernet 0/2. Okay. But if we look at, right, if we look at Wilma and Betty's MAC address, they're learned off the same port on that switch, right? And it's because, again, they learned it from another switch that's on that same broadcast domain, VLAN 1. And we'll talk about VLANs, I believe, in chapter 6 or 7, right? So that's why you guys are going to see in the future. And of course, you guys probably already saw it with your experience with, broadcast domains and switches, that multiple, MAC addresses can be learned off of one port, right? And this is one example. Okay. And the same goes for switch two, as you guys can see. Okay. So we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and jump in the lab and talk about this before we close out, right? So built a small, quick lab. Okay. Same thing, right? Fred, Wilma, Barney, and Betty. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and pull up switch one. Okay. We got switch one. Okay. Can you guys see that? I know the green is kind of light. All good? Let me know.
Yeah, we can see it. It's kind of light. We can see it though.
It's kind of light. Let me make some changes. Hold on. 1 second. Font. Uh,
It's right there at the top when the color says green router iOS text.
no, I'm looking for something else. See if I can make it
Oh,
bold.
okay.
Yeah, I'll
Gotcha.
just make it. I'll just make it white. See how that is. Okay, let's take a look at that. That better? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So right? So we understand, right? We know how to look at a MAC address table, right? So it's show, right? And of course, if we don't know, we got that help command, right? If we put that question mark, right? We look of the first letter of what we're looking for, right? We see MAC showing us MAC configuration, right? Okay, so we'll put MAC, right? Question mark, address table, okay? And we're gonna look for a dynamic, okay? Because we're not putting any static entries, right? And we're not gonna search by interface. So we're just gonna do dynamic, okay? All right, so it has one MAC address, okay? The alpha of gigabit 0/1. So let's go ahead and populate these tables. All right. So Fred, of course, I didn't label it here. They're all on the same subnet, 192.168.1.0/24. Fred has 51, Wilma has 52, Barney has 53, and Betty has 54. So let's go ahead and hop on Fred's PC and ping everybody so we can populate this MAC address table. Let's go ahead and go to command prompt. Let's do a ping 2.168.1. Okay, we get responses, right? So that tells me layer 2 is working, right? All right. Of course, layer 3 is working on the host. Let's ping Barney. Okay. Last but not least, let's ping Betty. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few things. Okay. Well, it doesn't show that. I want to look at, it may not show me. Yeah, it may not show me. No matter. So let's populate this, right? Okay. So we see, right? We see a couple of MAC addresses, right? We see 0004, right? Ending in A678, right? And we see B605, okay? And of course, we see a couple of MAC addresses that are learned off of gigabit 0/1. As we can see, right, gigabit 0/1 is connected to gigabit 0/1 on switch 2, right? And we're currently on switch 1, right? So this is how the MAC address table is going to look if there's host connected to another switch, right? That is hanging off that switch, right? And that switch is connected, switch 2 is connected to switch 1, okay? We hop in there, we're going to see multiple MAC addresses off of the same exact port, right? That's how it's going to look, right? Now, of course, regular PC, of course, if you guys troubleshooting, you guys are working with somebody, doing some verification, of course, you're going to ask for a MAC address, et cetera, right? Just like we went through before, we can go ahead and search, right, by interface, right? Right, we can search by interface, okay? Boom, it'll just show us those interfaces that are just connected to switch 2, right? We can do that. And of course, if we configure a static, we put in a static entry in global configuration mode, we can see that as well. So just watch the previous videos that goes over that, okay? Let's go back to the PowerPoint. All right, let's blow this up. And last but not least, right? This is it, right? I wanted to go ahead and touch on this. So chapter 5 started the technical piece. I really need you guys to, especially if you really want to pass the CCNA, and if you guys want to go even further, and be effective as network engineers, please understand layer 2, understand these show commands, how to clear a MAC address table, and so on and so forth. So yeah, use this command references at the end of each chapter. Take your time, right? And of course, I'm at you guys' disposal. If something doesn't make sense, I have no problem, opening up a lab and trying to help you guys make it make sense. As of now, chapter 5 is done, right? Today's session is done. Tuesday we'll be starting, or the next session will be starting chapter 6, which is going over configuring basic switch management. Like I told you guys, we are starting in this chapter, right? Chapter 5, we're starting the technical side of the house, okay, combining with the theory. So definitely full ears. I'm going to share as much knowledge that I got from my experience and from my CCNA and CCNP and all other experience and certification that I have. Okay. And on that note, we are good to go. You guys have a great day and a good weekend.